Hey guys, it's Busterman Day here. Um, this is like what do you call it? Like a vlog or whatever they call it. But this is the story of how I got into bottle digging and collecting bottles, and I guess I'll talk about the train ones too, and towards the end of the video. But how I got into bottles. Well, to be honest, I wasn't really into bottles until I was about maybe 12, 13. I'm not really sure, but I have been digging a long time. But I discovered a dump, which happens to be the dump I'm still digging today. Bottle digging so much in one hole, all day bottle digging is just an example of that spot. It's just a different spot of the island that was discovered. That I could never get to. But anyway, I found that whole dump one year when I was swimming with a friend. And so we went into the woods part, and we noticed there was bottles all over the place. And I took my mom over, I think it was the very next day, and she told me, hey, these are actually really old bottles. Because she used to dig when she was a kid with her parents. So eventually, we ended up taking the car over there, and we ended up getting at least 6 giant garbage bags worth of antique bottles from this dump. They were all on the surface. We didn't dig for any of them. We found them all laying on in the woods, on the surface, and all along the riverbank. And that was the very first dump I discovered, and I've been digging that dump ever since. And the stuff I pull out of there is just amazing, especially in the very newest spot that I've been digging. But, that's how I got into bottles. It was that dump that got me into bottles. And, ever since then, I've loved bottles. I love digging them. I love buying them, trading them. In fact, it's kind of what I do for a job, believe it or not. I sell bottles on eBay. And I sell bottles to collectors, dealers, and anything else. I also sell other antiques. And, you know, if you're interested in getting into the hobby of bottle digging, it's not that hard, actually. If I found a dump just by going swimming, then actually looking for one isn't that difficult. If you want to go look for a dump, just look at any old, property. Like, say you have a family member who has a really old house. Ask them if they have, like, a bunch of trash lying out in the woods somewhere. And that's your start. Even if dumps are like 50s and 40s, you know, you never know. They could have had bottles and dishes or old stuff sitting in their cabinets for 30, 40 years that they threw away. Like, I remember a dump I dug. It was 50s, but I remember finding a double safety jar that was sun-colored amethyst. For those of you who don't know what that is, sun-colored amethyst is the pink color that some bottles have, that the sun, the rays of the sun, actually turns it that color from the magnesium in the glass. That's not natural. They're not made like that. But I found a double safety jar in this dump, and it's from the late 1800s, early 1900s. And then right next to that, I found a Crown perfume company with the glass stopper still in it. So my point being is, even for a 50s dump, I found 2 wicked old bottles. You know, at least 1890s. Anyway, if you're unsuccessful walking around the woods and you don't see things on the surface, find a really old house or an old property that once had a house. Look where the house once stood. A lot of people use a metal detector actually to find dumps, but I don't own a metal detector, so I have to do like kind of hands-on. But the basement, they often dump trash even in the basement of old houses, so dig around where the basement might have been. You might find stuff there. Or if you have a house that you live in and your basement is dirt, dig around in your basement. You might find some stuff. But anyway, if that fails, if there's any large embankments or stone walls on the property, look behind the stone wall and start doing test holes. Mainly in the spot, if you see an opening in the stone wall about the width of a carriage or a car, that's where you want to look. because that's where they would have drove in with the carriage or the car if it's new enough to have a car, and that's where they probably would have dumped the garbage. But you can check anywhere along the stone wall. People might have just taken a big barrel and heaved it over the wall at one point. You never know. But if that fails, check the embankment. Just start doing test holes. If you get ash at the top, at the very top, because dumps 1930s and older are always going to have an ash or rust layer. So dig with a rake, like the kind I use, that little rake. That's the best tool to have for test holes because it clumps and it brings a whole bunch of stuff out at once if there is a dump there. But here's an idea though. If you do find a dump on an embankment, I suffer from this terribly. Always go from the bottom up. I have a bad habit of doing the top first. It's just a bad habit of mine. Do it from the very bottom and work your way up. Because if you don't, you're going to bury stuff that hasn't been dug. And I even suffer from it over there with the new spot I just discovered. As I haven't even gone down to the clay layer yet. Because I was too focused on the top. Because I've been finding everything on the top. But, and then once you learn like that how to find dumps, you can find many, many more throughout your years of doing the hobby. So far, I know of about 26 dumps. Some old, some new, some not worth going back at all, some worth, give it one more shot, some could dig at the rest of my life and not find everything. But, like my friend's dump, it's huge. It's huge. You could dig there the rest of your life and not find everything. But, like the other dump, I was actually my second favorite dump in the entire world. I was actually going rail fanning to my friend. I was heading to White River, and I noticed on the side of the road there was a bunch of oil barrels and some garbage. So we took a little break, and I hopped the guardrail and walked up the creek to get to these things. I noticed it was a dump, and I thought it was newer. It was a lot of new stuff, but then I found the older section. I started digging there, and I found some of the greatest things I've ever found there in my entire life at that dump. Or like the one like I just said where I found the 2 really old bottles, and I found a ton of nice ACL sodas at that dump. Even though it was a newer dump, it had a lot of good stuff. But, yeah, so just look for an ash layer, or look for an old property with a stone wall or a large embankment. Chances are you're going to find a dump doing that. If you want to collect bottles also like me, like you like to buy them, then obviously yard sales, antique stores are the best place to go. Sometimes you can get really killer deals on bottles. Ooh, I'm sorry. Like that one I got last time where I paid only $31 for all those bottles, and I could get well over $200 for the entire lot. But 99% of those bottles I kept. I think the only bottle I sold out of that lot was one blob to my friend, and I think I only charged him like $2 for it. But I should have given it to him for Christmas, to be honest. He'll forgive me. But over the years of collecting, guys, when I started out, when you first start out, you're gonna have, like I did, when you first start out, chances are you're gonna keep everything you find, even the most ridiculously garbage bottles ever. Bottles that are cracked, bottles that are blank screw top jars, beer bottles. Like, I can't stand that stuff nowadays. I can't stand any of that stuff nowadays, but I kept all of that stuff when I first started out. I kept all those no deposit blank beers from like the 60s when I first started. And my collection is just as big as it was back then, but I have better stuff than I do back then. And even I do. Even the most experienced collectors and diggers, sometimes they come across a bottle that's so good, but it's damaged, and they keep it anyway. I know I have plenty of bottles. I got a bottle over there with the whole top broken off that I still kept. It's the Dr. Daniel's Oyster Cocos. I found it, my second favorite dump in the whole world. I just thought it was the weirdest bottle I ever found. And it was sentimental to me, so I decided to keep it, even though it was busted. You know, I have a gin over there that's broken, but I'd never seen one before, so I kept that one too. My point being is, it doesn't matter if it's worth money or not. If it means something to you, you should hang on to it. I'm telling you guys this from my own mistakes. You know, don't let the money overrule your heart. I've thrown away stuff that I thought wasn't worth anything, but I liked, and now I regret it. I can't ever get that stuff back. It's in the landfill, and it was crushed down and recycled. You know? I can't ever get that stuff back. But, you know, the point being is, you know, bottle digging, bottle collecting, it's a very fun hobby. You know, I know a lot of people think it's stupid and pointless, but I know it's fun, and I have a blast doing it. Even buying bottles, I get excited, you know, like the 2 hutches I got at the bottle store I went to. I love those bottles. They're sitting right over there with the other one, and I've loved them. I've looked at them every day ever since I bought them. You know, I look at my collection at least once a day, because I'm proud of my collection, and everyone else who bottle digs should also be proud of their collection, because of the labor and or the money you've put into it. And by the time I die, I'm probably going to have enough bottles to fill the Empire State Building. But anyway, it's just a fun hobby, you know. If you don't like it, it's not for you. You know, you don't have to do it. But if you want to try it, I think you should try it. You know, trying something new in life, you never know. But especially when you find those bottles that you really like, and you dug them up personally, like my Master's Ink, my Larkin Company, my Case Gin, you know, my 2 Blob Tops, all those bottles from my top 20 finds of the year, all those bottles I dug personally, and man, those are all bottles I wouldn't give them I'd give the world, or I wouldn't give them away for anything. You know, they're too sentimental and they're too prized possessions to me. But I know a lot of people, you know, have their different opinions about bottles. You know, some people will keep blank bottles because they're blown. Some people won't. They'll think they're junk. You know, everyone has the right to their own opinion, and everyone has the right to what they keep. You know, some people like me, they just don't have the space. Or if you've been digging as long as I have, you realize some bottles are so bloody common that you can't stand them, like the Foss and Bakers and J.F. Howards. I can't stand those bottles. They're so common. I chucked those in the dump from coming back from the river because I can't stand them. And that's another thing I do too, is I actually every time I bottle dig over at that dump, I take a big bag of glass back home and I throw it in the dumpster because I don't want it going in the river. That's what I do. And wow, this video is going for 13 minutes. Holy moly. Anyway, that's the story of how I got into bottle digging and bottle collecting. As far as the can collecting, I collect cans obviously because I love Pepsi so much. You know, I'm forever dedicated to that drink. I've been drinking it my entire life, and I just love that company. I love everything they make, like Mountain Dew and Mug, Sierra Mist. And, the railroad part of this, I've loved trains since I was a year old. And I grew up around the New England Central and the Claremont Concord and the Vermont Railway and all of them. You know, every time I used to bring my brother home to Hartford, and every time after that, me and my mom would always go up to our area to watch the Amtrak leave. And I remember way back then, though, the Amtrak always had the tailgate engine. For you who don't know what that is, the tailgate engine is the engine on the back that pushes. And we just gave it that nickname. It hasn't had it in a long time. And if it does, if I ever get it on camera just one last time, I'll be a very happy camper. But I don't think they're ever going to bring it back because of cost concerns. I mean, it is easier to have it, though. I mean, because that way you don't have to flip the engine around every route. But, you know, unless they're using 2 different trains every day. which would be more of a waste of money than normal using just 2 engine on one train. I don't know. I like that one I caught in the middle. That was the weird. I've never seen anything like that in my 16 years of rail fanning. I've never seen anything like that. And or the one with the New England Senator with the switch engine in the middle. I've never seen that either. But and I know my quality of my videos, guys, ain't the best either, whether it's bottle dinging or rail fanning, but I apologize for that, and I just share it with you guys because I hope you enjoy my videos, and hope I can make more videos to come. And I don't do rail fanning as much as bottle dinging because it's very hard for me to get to my rail fanning spot unless I go with a friend, or I bike all the way there, which is about half an hour from where I live, But I do it in the summer. It's a nice long ride. Once it's there, I spend the whole day up there. Watch the NSCR and the Vermonter come in twice a day. And I just wish they'd bring the Boston and Maine back. I have forever dedicated to that railroad, and I love everything about that railroad. It built New England basically, and it's gone. But what are you gonna do? Anyway, guys. Oh, and as far as my layout goes, I have put that on the back burner because I don't have the money right now to do that. A layout for me is really hard to do in the hobby shop. Getting a brand new locomotive at the hobby shop can cost anywhere up to $300. Can you believe that? $300 for a model locomotive. I mean, a freight car alone can cost me $30 down there. That's why I get most of my freight cars and stuff used, because it's a lot cheaper and it's the same quality. You just don't get the box. But anyway, guys. One person told me one time that you're not a true rail fan, and I'm like, wow. I'm not a rail fan. I was a rail fan when you were in your diaper. And, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know much about trains as people, other people do. But I do know a lot about trains, and maybe I'll work for the railroad one day. I don't know. I do want to do a job in antiques, though, because I like antiques a lot. And even though the railroad came first, I think the antique job would be more passionate for me and more profitable as far as a living. And there is one thing I want to do with the railroad. I do want to do a heritage unit program eventually. I'm not going to get into any more details because I don't want anyone to steal my idea. But anyway, guys, this video is about to hit 18 minutes. This video just hit 18 minutes long, so I'm going to cut it off here, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope you sat through the whole thing listening to me ramble on. But I want to thank all of you for your support, your likes, and your very kind comments. And I just appreciate all of you guys so much for sticking with me. And a lot of people, some people have unsubbed me, but not much I can do about it. For the people who are still with me, I very much appreciate it. And I might be doing a giveaway if I hit 100 subs. If I hit 100 subs, I'll definitely do a giveaway. Giveaway. And so this is Boston Main Digger. Signing off, guys. Happy rail fanning and happy hunting.